I'm I'm here with Kelvin Sanders. Uh, Kelvin, go ahead and state your new title with Decatur Central High School.
I am the special teams development coach. I'm working with all the kickers, punters, and long snappers at the freshman level, all the way through the varsity level, and developing them, making sure they're ready to go on Friday nights and Saturday mornings, ready for kickoff.
Gotcha. So you played in a various amount of different pro leagues, a little bit in college, definitely some in high school for Decatur Central. Um, how has that experience as a player, prepared you for becoming a coach?
Man, it's been a transition. I mean, as a player, you're always fired up in the locker room, and you never get to be the guy on the sidelines watching the game. You're always waiting for your opportunity to go in the game. So I mean, playing through, Decatur, going to Indiana State for a year, coming home, playing minor league for the Indy Bison and Marion County Crusaders. I mean, it's been a long road, but it's definitely shown me a lot of different styles of how teams play and gives you a lot more knowledge between just one scheme. It gives you all types of different schemes of how this coach wants to run a formation, how this coach wants to run a style of kickoff. Like taking three, four, five different schemes of knowledge that you've played through with a full year of knowledge. It definitely works when it comes to transitioning. It has its challenges, but it's really been a fun transition. I've enjoyed every step of it so far.
You mentioned, playing for vast majority of coaches, a lot of different styles. What's been a couple of things that you picked up from either your head coaches or your special team coaches as a player?
Really, they're like just all the different types of kicks. Like some people just thinks is going out there and just kicking the football, but there's so many different ways to kick a ball. Like you can literally like there's different styles to hold the ball, like different ways to tilt it, turn it, to get it to go a certain way. Like I mean, there like kickoffs, for instance, you can easily just kick it to the back of the end zone every day if you really wanted to. But you got the onside, you got the secret onsides where they don't see it coming. You got the squibs, you have the sky kicks, like just right then, that's five different kickoffs, and it's more than just going out kicking a football. So once you get those different types of styles of how to kick a ball when you go against a kick return team that's never seen that style of play, it really catches them off guard. And if you're an aggressive team like Decatur is, we want the ball back. So if we see an opportunity to get the ball back, we're going to surprise them with a certain kick and we're going to go get it.
This is one of my favorite questions I'm going to ask you today. Day one of summer workouts is coming up. When your special teams group leaves after the first day of workouts, what do you want them to know about Kelvin?
I want them to know that we're gonna work. Day one, it's right out the gun. We're gonna get to work, and like we're gonna get. Even though I've got like my varsity kicker, he's a first team All American, so he's a really good kicker. Real stud. He's gonna be a really good D1 kicker when he gets to that level. So even with him, like I'm treating him just like I am the freshman. Like we're gonna get the drill work. We're gonna perfect our craft, and no matter how good we are and what the statistics say, we're gonna better our results for the next season. And he's entering his senior year. I've got two kickers that are freshmen, a long snapper that's a sophomore. We got a really young group, and right off the gun, I want them to know that we're gonna work as long as they're here, and I want it to transition even when they're into the college level.
So it sounds like you developing these players to become, college prospects on special teams is a big focus of your style of coaching and your development there at Decatur.
Most definitely. I mean, I want them to be the best athletes they can be on the field and as men off the field. Because, what you do off the field is easily transitionable to what you do on the field. Because if you don't want to work and take it serious when you're off the field, you're going to come on the field and easily get beaten out by the next man up. So,
Mhm.
like they got to treat their mindset of what they do as humans off the field so they can come onto the field and literally just take what they learn from life and take it into the football field because all that transitions into one when you played so many years of sports, you see that sports bear you as men, and when you become better men, you can become better athletes.
So great answer. Kobe Bryant, sports are the best simile to life. It's nothing like it, man. So, what has the process been like preparing for the upcoming season as a coach for the first time?
It's been pretty fun, like I've got another coach on special teams, Coach Kennett. He's also our DB coach from Center Grove, and me and him, we've talked different ways of how to better the style of special teams because we call ourselves the special forces. Like we're coming out to dominate this year, and like we got three kickers that I feel like have really good potential from where we are. So we're utilizing all of them in practice. We're not just using one kicker or two guys, but we're making sure everybody gets some reps in, and we're making sure we all understand the focus, the point, what it's going to be like this season. And so far through off-season workouts, it's been really fun. It's been really good. They've been working their asses off, and late August we got 6A Columbus North week 1, and I think they're going to be ready to go.
Sounds good. Um, what has been the biggest adjustment from playing to coaching? I mean, you have a long list of special teams experience, multiple years at Decatur, going into ISU, got into these different pro leagues. I mean, you've seen a lot of stuff. What's been the biggest adjustment being a coach now and kind of being on that other side of the field?
The hardest thing about it, especially me being so young and having so many years of experience, it's really hard to just not put on the cleats myself and go out there with them. Like I do. There's so many times, I'll try to train them. Like there's certain things they won't understand, but I can't just put on my cleats and go out there and do it myself because I want them to learn from their mistakes. I want them to kick a ball, it not go the way they want, and I want them to question, like what am I doing wrong? So I want them to understand the hard way, just like I did. Like you're gonna fuck up. You're not every kick's gonna be perfect. And kicking is one of the hardest things to learn. Not a lot of people understand it, but unlike running back and receiver, a lot of it's physicality. You can bully your guy through, truck him on the ground, but kicking, it's all mental. You got to do the same process every single time, or it's gonna be off. So they gotta mentally prepare more than anything. And that's one of the toughest things about teaching somebody because you can easily train somebody athletically to get stronger, but mentally having them understand the physics and the mechanics of how to kick the football, it's definitely a much bigger adjustment teaching it versus learning it.
Yeah, the mental part of special teams, especially when you're a kicker, is bar none to almost anything in sports.
Yeah.
A lot of times, one of the only positions on in sports where they have like the locked in last shot. If you're up down by two, down by three, you're going in there.
Oh
What
yeah.
what is your message to players to trying to gain a grasp of their mental process while they're in a game?
See, I try to mentally prepare them and practice as if they were in that situation because our kicker Ashton had a game winner versus Plainfield last year, and I believe it was 52 yards, and that's a lot of pressure for a kid that's only in a sophomore year, and for him to go out there and do it, I know that takes a lot of mental preparedness. So for my younger guys, I try to prepare them as if they were in the game in that situation. Like I've told them, like we have earbuds. Like I used to have earbuds in my ear with literally just crowd noises. Like pregame, trying to warm up, I got loud noises in my ear, but we're still staying focused. Like you got to try to black yourself out in those moments. When you're in practice, treat it as if you were in the game. But when you're in the game, think like you're in practice. Nobody's around me. We're gonna go out and kick this ball and get the job done. So if you can go out there on Friday nights and just stay calm, don't let the pressure get to you, and just enjoy the moment and have fun, you'll go out there and do the job.
When did you figure out you wanted to coach? Did you know from as soon as you started playing football, or did that kind of, come about during your time in college or in different pro leagues? When did that passion for coaching start for you?
It honestly came when I came home from Indiana State. Coming home from Indiana State, I was a little bit of a funk, being out of the sport for a little bit, which led to me going back to, the minor league. Um, but I really wanted to get into coaching. I knew Decatur had a great culture. Like they've always had a great program, great culture. It's a great coaching staff. A lot of the same coaches that I played for are still there. So it's real nice being around people that are familiar with and already know the similar, schemes that they're running. Like it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to just coach, but coaching for Decatur was something I really wanted to do, and it definitely played itself out. But no matter where I would have coached, I would have been blessed to. But I mean, getting this opportunity, it's definitely special, especially at a young age. I've wanted this opportunity since I did come home from college, and it's definitely been fun. And I'm not going to let it sink away. I'm going to take every opportunity this and make the best of it.
When you found out you were going to be coaching for your alma mater, what did that mean to you, and what was your reaction?
It meant a lot. It really did. I treated it honestly like I did as a player. Like I'm not going to get too overconfident. I'm not going to get too happy, but it's exciting. So we got to enjoy the moment. But immediately when I knew that the season was getting closer, because I was one of the later hires, I got hired probably say March or April. So it was only, a couple months away from the season. So it was time to mentally prepare again and lock in quick because it was exciting, but at the same time, I had to get serious pretty quick.
What's the first thing you did to start preparing for this season when you found out you're going to be the special teams developer?
One of the first things I did, honestly, I was trying to go back at I was going back to when I was kicking, looking at some videos, looking at schemes and such, and trying to get a refresher of some things that, how Decatur played and how I did, like for Indy Bison, Crusaders, looking at some of those styles of what I played with, and I wanted to bring it all into Decatur from what they've ran versus to what I've ran in other places. Like that program is really good and it has a lot of room for improvement as well. Like as good as they are, there's always room for improvement. And if I could bring more to the table that'll help us improve, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
When you think about the upcoming season, what are you the most excited for?
The fans, I'm ready to see, all the fans again, like the atmosphere. Like it's been I went to their couple games last year, seeing the team caught up with them again, and that really sparked the feel too of wanting to become a coach there, being back in the facility and the locker rooms and all that. But I mean, being back, I don't know, man. It's special. It really is special. My first reaction, it was exciting. I called my parents. I'd say that I called both of them, let them know, and they were excited for me. And like pretty much just told Coach Enright, like it's an honor. I'm really blessed, and I'm ready to get to work. Just like I was as a player. I'm ready
Mhm.
to do the same as a coach.
Special teams is an important aspect of football. It puts points up on the board. It, you know, directs field position. What is your philosophy when it comes to special teams?
My opinion, it's the most important position on the field other than a quarterback, if not the same as a quarterback. Because, like you said, like quarterbacks, they lead the offense. They're the ones the majority lead the way to the win or to the points or to the touchdowns, to the field goals. They're the ones that's leading the way on the offense. But us kickers are slept on, man. Like you're down 2 points at the 30-yard line. You better hope you got that we got to don't have a timeout because we're using it at the 1 second mark.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's definitely probably the most important position on the field because other than scoring points, I mean, you start the defense off. If you get a bad kick, you're giving the other team good field position. But if you get a nice punt, you might be lucky enough to put it inside the 5 yard line, and that's the worst position you could ask to be for the offense. So I mean, when it comes down to points when needed, if you need it desperately or give your defense the best chance possible, the kicker is going to be the one to decide that, if not the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. What is your goal at Decatur Central in this position? Do you have any aspirations to move up? Do you have any aspirations maybe to become a lead special teams coordinator? Um, what's kind of your trajectory that you want for this?
I definitely would love to move up as far as I could. Like especially being at the IHSAA level at a young age. Like it's not everybody gets the opportunity to do so, even in their 30s. So I'm only 24. I want to take every opportunity of it. If I can develop myself as a coach and learn more each season from the guys around me and other coaches I meet during this period, I definitely will. And like eventually leading into a coordinator role, head coordination, moving up to a college level, as long as it took, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, I'm all for the process. Really. It's something I really do got in my deep in my heart. I've always had the love of game for football ever since I was in fourth, fifth grade and it hasn't left since. And really excited to still be in the game, even though it's not on the field.
So I know this is your first time coaching special teams and football, but I did hear that this isn't necessarily your first time coaching at all. Talk about some of your other coaching experiences that you've had.
A few years ago, I was a basketball coach at Hawthorne Community Center with my good friend Hunter Bryant. He was, we both drafted a pretty killer team, and we were really on the marks of going for a championship year. But unfortunately, COVID struck and shut the league down before we had the chance to strike the gold. But I think the whole league knew what would have went on at the end of the season, so we're not going to talk about that. But it was a lot of fun, and definitely would be fun to do it again sometime.
What do you, sorry, three words to describe your coaching style?
Fast, fast, physical, and prepared.
And when you think about you've expressed, your goals to move up, your goals to continue coaching in this capacity. When you think about, Coach Sanders, the coach in 5 years, 10 years, what area do you want to grow in the most?
Probably the area I want to grow in the most is not necessarily explaining to the players of like how to get a kickoff or how to hold the snap. Basically, explain the mechanics of kicking to them, but more so shortening up to where they can understand. I'm trying to think how I want to put this. Like basically, I don't want to have to explain it as much to them because I feel like there's certain things I could explain better, especially being a first year coach. Maybe sometimes I go around the bush and say too much. So as I go about it, I'm not the nicest coach, but I'm not the meanest coach. But certain things I could tighten up and teach them a little bit better. Even though I'm teaching them good, I think I could shorten it up to where they can understand a little bit more.
And I couldn't end this interview without asking. I know you dissect every trick play out of special teams. What's been your favorite special teams trick play that you've seen been ran? And not trying to give away the playbook, but any hints of that being ran this season?
We've got a few. We've got a few this year. Our kicker Ashton, man, he's an athlete. Like there might be a time that you literally see him just catch a direct snap and just throw a vertical route, just 40 yards downfield. He's launching it. You know, there's times we might see our holder just take off with it while we got three players on a wheel route. Like there's a few trick plays that we got on special teams if we ever need it because like I said, we're an aggressive team. So if we're scoring a lot on the touchdowns, we're scoring a lot of touchdowns. The offense is hot. If it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4 at the 30-yard line, we might still go for the kill. Who knows? But we've got a lot of formations. We could see some jet sweeps on a field goal formation. We could see a direct snap to the kicker, the holder taking off with it. We've definitely had some a thought process about how we can get tricky this year in special teams.
After your first season, what do you want the players for Decatur Central to think about you as?
I want them to think I want them to think that they're better players and better men from when they were at the beginning of the season. I want them to think that the coaches have their back like we know we do. I want them to believe in the program and what we're doing for them. And I want them to proudly say they're state champions.
Awesome. Well, Kelvin, appreciate your time today, man. Been great. Uh, Thank you for allowing me to do this with you, and look forward to catching up with you during the season or
Thank
another
you.
interview.